Welcome to the Blue Collar Tutor Test Preparation Series for the New York City Fire Department S-12 Certificate of Fitness for Citywide Sprinkler Systems. This series will provide you with a convenient review of the material for the written exam. This preparation course includes information taken from the 2008 New York City Fire Code, Chapter 9, Fire Department Rules, Chapter 9, and the National Fire Protection Agency, Standard 25, 2002 edition, for inspection, testing, and maintenance of water-based fire protection systems. It is critical that you understand this material to help increase your chances of passing the exam. A transcript of this material is provided for free by the New York City Fire Department. See the link in the description below to upload the transcript and additional reference guides that you'll need to familiarize yourself with for the exam. Instructions on the application process to register for the exam are also provided via the link below. If you haven't already, it is recommended to watch the brief overview video in this series at least once before moving on to the subsequent volumes. After an initial run-through of the entire series, refer back to these volumes as often as you need until you feel confident with the material. Once you've familiarized yourself with all of the material in this course, continue on to the practice test sections at the end of the series. There you will find over 200 questions to test your knowledge of the material. 8. Water supplies for sprinkler systems. The sources used to supply water to sprinkler systems are the same as those for standpipe systems. Sprinklers may be supplied from one or a combination of sources. For example, they may be supplied by public mains, gravity tanks, pressure tanks, fire pumps, reservoirs, rivers, or lakes. A single water supply would appear to be all that is needed to supply a sprinkler fire protection system. This assumes that there is enough water at an acceptable pressure. However, a single supply may be out of service for maintenance or repair during a fire emergency, or it may be disabled during a fire or before the fire is fully extinguished. Additionally, the water supply may fall below normal pressure or volume during an emergency. These are just a few reasons why it is good to have a secondary water supply. In some cases, it is required by law to have a secondary water supply source. Whether a second source is needed depends on several factors. These factors include the strength and reliability of the primary supply, the value of the property, the height, area, occupancy classification, and design of the building. When a sprinkler system is supplied from a public water main, the entire system shall be shut down by closing a non-indicating type control valve. This valve is located between the building and the water main in a box that is recessed into the sidewalk. The location of the box is found by reading a sign on the building or on a post nearby. The sign might read, "Shut off for sprinkler system located 6 feet from this sign," or it may have similar instructions. A special key will be required to operate this valve. Curb valves. Gate valves of the non-indicating type are provided in water distribution systems. Gate valves allow the sprinkler system to be shut off for repairs or maintenance. Such valves are normally a non-rising stem type. They are operated using a special key wrench. A valve box is located over the valve to keep dirt from the valve. The valve box also provides a convenient access point for the valve wrench to the valve nut. A complete record should be made for each valve in the system. This record should include the exact location, the date it was installed, the make, the direction of opening, number of turns to open, and any maintenance that was performed. The control valve for the building may also be on the outside wall or attached to an upright post, known as a post indicator valve or PIV. The building or section of the building controlled by the valve is usually marked on the post. The position of this valve, open or closed, is shown through a telltale opening in the post. On some posts, a padlock must first be opened to release the operating wrench or wheel handle. The main water supply for sprinklers may also be controlled by an S-Y, outside stem and yoke valve. The valves are found just inside the building wall on the main riser, or outside in protected pits. It is easy to tell at a glance if the valve is open or shut. When the stem is all the way out, the valve is open. When the stem is all the way in, the valve is closed. Approved indicator valves use a flag that shows the valve position, and the valves commonly are used to control the water supply for individual floors in a building. Indication control valves are also installed to shut off certain sections of an individual floor. Being able to shut off parts of a building allows the fire department to have greater control over the sprinkler system. When a fire is under control in an area, the S-Y valve can be closed to prevent any further water damage. Sometimes repairs must be made to the sprinkler system. When this occurs, the indicating control valves are used to close the water supply to only those sections being repaired. This is good safeguard since the rest of the sprinkler system does not have to be shut down. Pumper connections for fire department use. Normally, a sprinkler system is connected to an automatic water supply source. Auxiliary sources of water are supplied through fire department connections at the building. Fire department connections are a standard part of most sprinkler systems. When responding to an alarm, most fire departments supply water to the standpipe system first. The standpipe system supplies water to the fire hoses to be used within the building. Water is then supplied to the sprinkler system through its own fire department connection. Care should be taken that the standpipe and the sprinkler connections are properly marked because the connections look the same. The exact purpose of each fire department connection should be shown nearby or on the fire department connection itself. The New York City Building Code requires fire department connection to be color-coded. The fire department connection to an automatic sprinkler system shall be painted green. The fire department connection to non-automatic sprinkler system shall be painted silver. The fire department connection to a standpipe system shall be painted red. Local Law 58/2009 requires color coding of fire standpipe and fire sprinkler systems to have the risers, cross connections to the water supply piping painted red. The fire department connection to a combined standpipe/sprinkler system shall be painted yellow. Fire department connections must always be accessible. Each connection shall be fitted with a lower check valve. The lower check valve prevents the backflow of the private water supply into the fire department connection. The automatic ball drip device between the lower check valve and the outside fire department water from building up in the piping and shall be installed in the horizontal position. This ball drip device makes sure that the fire department connection is not blocked by water which has frozen within the piping. If water freezes in the piping, the fire department will not be able to pump water into the system. Gravity tanks. Gravity tanks of adequate capacity and elevation make a good primary supply and may be acceptable as a single supply. A gravity tank may be located on the top of a building or on a tall tower. The water in the tank is distributed throughout the sprinkler system because of the pull of gravity. Pressure tanks. Pressure tanks have several possible uses in automatic sprinkler fire protection systems. The tank is normally kept at 2/3 full of water and 1/3 full of air. The air pressure in the tank shall be maintained at or above 75 psi. Air for pressure tanks is supplied by air compressors. Because the water is always under pressure, it can be forcefully distributed throughout the sprinkler system. An important limitation is the small amount of water that can be stored in such tanks. Where a small pressure tank is accepted as the water supply, the system is called a limited supply system. Pressure tanks are often used in situations where an adequate amount of water can be supplied by a public or private source, but the water pressure is not adequate. The pressure tank gives a strong starting pressure for the first sprinklers that open. The flow from the tank may be used while the automatic fire pumps begin to increase the water supply pressure. Pressure tanks are often used in tall buildings that need extra water pressure to supply the highest line of sprinkler heads. The pressure tank supplies these sprinkler heads until the fire department begins pumping water into the sprinkler system. Fire pumps. Fire pumps can be used as a main water supply source for sprinkler systems. They may also be used in combination with gravity tanks to supply sprinkler systems. Fire pumps are designed to take the water from a supply source and then discharge the water into the fire protection system under pressure. The amount of pressure with which the water is discharged from the pump is called the total head. The total head is measured in pounds per square inch. The higher the PSI rating of the pump, the greater the pressure with which the water can be discharged. Fire pumps shall be sized to satisfy the hydraulic requirements of the sprinkler system. A fire pump having both a reliable source of power and a reliable suction water supply is an effective piece of equipment. A suction water supply is simply a body of water that the pump can draw water from. Fire pumps are commonly used because they can pump water into the sprinkler system under high pressure. With a good water supply, a fire pump can pump water into a sprinkler system for a long time. Manually started pumps may be used as a secondary supply source if the primary water supply will last long enough to allow the pump to be started. This type of system gives an automatic water flow signal to the certificate of fitness holder when the pump must be started. Automatic fire pumps are usually needed where a high water demand may occur immediately. This demand may occur in a deluge system. The automatic fire pump is also used when someone is not always present to activate a manual pump. Automatic fire pumps must have their suction under a positive head to avoid the delays of drawing water from a supply source. Under positive head simply means that the water supplying the pump must be fed into the fire pump under pressure. This can be achieved by connecting the fire pump to a suction tank. Water is forced into the pump because of gravity. This concludes Volume 4. Repeat each chapter as often as you need until you feel confident with the material. Post any follow-up questions in the comment section below. Subscribe to stay current on updates to existing exams and to be notified of new test preparation content. If you found this video helpful to you in any way, please be sure to leave a like. Thank you for watching.